This movie is just an actual complete waste of your money. There, I said it. It's not in any way like, it's so bad it's good, or funny, or I'm just over-exaggerating. It's literally just devoid of any entertainment value and just makes you more angry than when you first went into the theater. The average person even knew this before their first viewing. When I went to go watch the movie in theaters, there were only 2 people in the theaters besides me and my group of friends, and those 2 people walked out in the final 30 minutes, and one of them was on their phone the entire time. In reality, there was only like one thing that was enjoyable about this movie, and it was like 9 lines from Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury, and the majority of them weren't even anything special. The fight scenes were not interesting, mainly because Captain Marvel literally solos anyone in the way, so there's little to no actual stakes in this movie. The main characters were unlikable at best and insufferable at worst. Speaking of which, if this video does well enough, I'll put myself through the torment of watching the Miss Marvel TV show, and no, I have not heard great things about it. Oh, and the third main character, whose name I literally cannot recall after googling it for the 4th time already, is flat as hell and has no substance. Oh, her name is Monica. Well, I won't be forgetting that anytime soon. Apparently Monica was like in the season finale of WandaVision or something, but aside from that, the movie does not show once how she got her powers, even when it's directly asked. Instead, it's just a half-assed, I walked through magic or some shit. I'm just as intrigued by the character as the writers are. Can you tell? I don't really care about this character at all, and it makes her sacrifice in the end all the more eye-rolling. Miss Marvel's role in the movie is basically to suck Captain Marvel off for the first half hour or so, to an insufferable amount, mind you. She's supposed to be a stan/fangirl, which is not fun to watch in the slightest, especially for who she fangirls for. And then there's Captain Marvel herself, which I don't think you can't have an incredibly strong protagonist, but she's so damn strong, it literally makes every scene in conflict redundant, and literally makes the other 2 characters fucking pointless in this movie. And Marvel didn't learn this the first time when making Captain Marvel, so instead we now have 2, and even at some points 3 ridiculously strong protagonists, even though there's really not enough challenge or growth to justify it. Monica is a prime example of this. She sews the universe back together, and this movie is the first time we see her, and she only started using her powers to fight only hours ago. She first flew at the half point of this movie. This was her first time, and now she's sewing the fucking universe back together. I give up. I just give up. These writers should never write a Marvel movie ever again. Hell, I don't think they should even be allowed to write a kid's book at this point, because the kid will understand their plot hole inconsistencies better than they could. Anyway, let's cut to the grossly oversimplified viewing of this movie, shall we? Whee! Cool space travel scene! So this is like our villain, whose name I genuinely can't remember either. Jeez, it probably doesn't even sound like I watched this movie. Anyway, Dar-Ben here is the same race as Ronan or some shit, I think. So at this point in the movie, I called out that she would die in nearly the same way as Ronan does, and I wasn't wrong. So we're at a great start. She got our first half of the MacGuffin. It's this special bracelet thing that basically directly counters all 3 of the Marvel's powers, which this sounds actually interesting. I can't wait for it to not fucking matter though. We got to Miss Marvel fantasizing about Captain Marvel, who at this point I'm just gonna call Cap M for the rest of the video. We get this cool animated comic book scene, which I actually don't hate. It looks really fluid and nice aside from all the pain I'm feeling at this interaction. I'm sure that'll subside. And dear Lord, girl, there are different things in your life besides your favorite superhero. Jeez. I'm calling it. Her liking Captain Marvel is going to be her only personality trait. Miss M's other half of the MacGuffin glows and PF2 rocket jumps her into a door. Oh, how I wanted to cheer at this scene. We cut to Cap M, who has been busy having a dream recap of her first movie, making me feel even more existential pain than this movie should have. A lot of nothing happens, but she's tasked to go check out this weird space anomaly or some shit. Monica gets introduced, she immediately does some dumb shit, and all 3 Marvels get hit with some sort of special energy stuff. And trust me, this will actually do something. And said thing won't be shittily explained and contradicted immediately. No, not this movie. The 3 of them switch places. Miss M becomes immediately more painful to listen to when she sees Nick. Oh dear Lord, this is gonna be the next half of the movie, ain't it? Cap M walks through the door and immediately teleports. Keep this in mind because it'll be funny to look back on in a minute. Cap M immediately ends a small army of soldiers with highly advanced weapons in 2 seconds. Good. Nothing else I expected. Some alien space meeting is happening between our big bad evil guy and that race Captain Marvel fucked over in her movie, and I couldn't care less about what's being talked about. Cap M invades the alien ship and goes to knock a guy's lights out and immediately teleports with Miss M. Oh fucking god. Anyways, more nonsense teleporting happens, and trust me, the amount I'm emphasizing this will matter soon and makes the FNAF movie writers look more competent compared to this shit. Ms. M doesn't teleport after using her powers multiple times in the elevator, mind you, and more nothing fighting happens. They win as expected, and some more nothing dialogue happens, and Miss Marv learns that she's being stalked by the superhero agency thing. You know, normal everyday Tuesday shit, I guess. And it is here where we learn the quality of the writing in this movie isn't going to be good. Monica's theory to their teleportation is whenever two of them use their powers in unison, they switch places. That's a cool gimmick, right? Well, it'd help if there wasn't multiple scenes where they literally just randomly teleport regardless of unison. And I get some of the scenes I've sourced, you can argue that it is possible that two of the Marvels were using their powers at the exact same time to do what is literally the most mundane shit, but I already ain't buying much of this. So cool, we have a newly established trait that was contradicted before it was even explained. I am so optimistic for the rest of this movie, and oh boy is there a lot more to go. So Cap M tries to resummon Miss Marv to her location with no luck after hearing this proposed idea. It seems she isn't using her powers at this moment because plot. So Captain M goes to fly her off to rescue her. And keep in mind how she initiated her powers here and then flies off only for her to switch places with Miss Marv mid-flight. This definitely won't be another contradiction to a newly established rule only a few minutes into the movie. And no, I'm not talking about the last one. They really just fuck up every rule they established for this teleportation gimmick. If you genuinely told me this movie happened during a writer's strike, I wouldn't be surprised. Tangent aside, let's keep moving. So anyways, girly teen girl is plummeting from the ozone layer down to earth, and I couldn't care less. And now it's Monica's moment to learn how to fucking fly on the spot, even though she's apparently never done it before.
Liza, you gotta fly. No. I mean, yeah, well, you got to now, or Kamala's not gonna graduate from high school. Come on, use your car. Hey, back in ratchet.
Oh wait, I just quickly checked back in the movie. Yes, she has, only minutes ago. What do all three of you have? Fucking dementia? Who greenlit this? Actually, as a matter of fact, let's go and look at the writer's history and see what they've worked on. So for our first contestant, Nia DaCosta is an American film writer. She wrote and directed crime thriller Little Woods, winning Noran if you're in, what the fuck is this prize? I never even heard of it. She's also co-wrote and directed the horror film Candyman and superhero film The Marvels. Big fucking surprise. Let's see how well these movies have done. Would you look at that? Candyman has a 6 out of 10 on IMDb and 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. Impressive. Little Woods has a 6.2 out of 10 and a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. The movie Hedda she apparently was a part of does not bring up a direct score on Google. That's cool. The movie Night and Day on IMDb has a 5.2 out of 10 and no Rotten Tomatoes score immediately shown. That's cool. Neither of those two movies also had a poster on Google, so that's cool. So for our first contestant, we have 4 movies before the Marvels, right? 2 of them actually have a poster, and 2 of them have no poster. 1 of them doesn't even have a rating on IMDb, and all 3 of them are about a 5 out of 10 on IMDb. This is a great start. Now for contestant 2. Megan McDonnell is an American screenwriter best known for her work on the Marvel Cinematic Universe projects, WandaVision and The Marvels. So at least this time we have 1 background in the Marvel studio, so at least maybe it makes sense as a hire. Let's take a peek at her other works. Well, aside from any Marvel product, which there's only 2, one of which we're reviewing right now, she literally has only directed 1 other movie named Meet Cute. Now, to be fair, there are 3 ratings. On IMDb, it is a 5.7 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, it is a 59%. And for an audience rating on Google summary rating, it is a 4.0. That is it. So, not the most impressive. 2 of the 3 rating systems say half the people like the movie, so I think that says enough. So similar to our last writer, she has very little history in writing and not many projects under her belt, let alone most of these movies being something I've never heard of. And for our last writer and contestant, we have Alyssa Karasik, who doesn't even have a picture unlike the other 2. This is already a great start. So Alyssa wrote the episode of Loki named The Variant. She co-wrote The Marvels, obviously. She was also staff writer and executive story editor for the first season of Loki. And yeah, that's about it for that. Now, as for things she was actually a part of that did well, there is Lessons in Chemistry, which had 8.3 out of 10 for IMDb IMDb. So the problem is I can't figure out what she was actually a part of on it. Like seriously, it doesn't say, like the little info box doesn't have her name once in it, and I Google the writers and her name doesn't come up, so I'm kind of confused. What the fuck did she do on it? Now lads, here's where I get a little worried. The second film it says she was a part of is titled First Handjob, First Kiss Parody. This sounds like an extremely bad porno, and at this point, I'm a little too afraid to click on anything other than the IMDb website, which is blocked behind a paywall for me to see the actual info of the movie, because everything else coming up looks like porn. Lucky and unluckily, this is on YouTube, so I get to watch it for your entertainment, and yeah, it's literally just a parody of porn videos, and it's very uncomfortable to watch. I'm just gonna say that. It's not really funny. It's just very uncomfortable. This isn't even a movie, by the way. It's a short film that is 5 minutes on YouTube. That is probably got a production value of $10. And now I am ashamed to have this in my YouTube watch history. So to recap everything and point out how unqualified these three women were to write this movie. So two of them basically have no credentials. One of them was part of / a writer for 4 movies. One doesn't even have an IMDb score. The rest are 5 out of 10s. The second woman has only been a director for 1 movie prior, and it's a random ass movie no one's ever heard of named Meet Cute. The third lady was a writer on season 1 of Loki and wrote an entire episode herself. After looking enough, it looks like she was a writer on Lessons in Chemistry, which is the only decently performing piece of content I have seen that isn't a $10 budget YouTube video. And even then, this lady was part of a short film that they want to call a movie called First Handjob, First Kiss Parody. And it's a porno parody on YouTube that's just really uncomfortable to watch. These 3 people were tasked with writing a competent script for a Marvel movie. The only person you can genuinely make an argument for that should be part of the writers on this movie has to be Alyssa Karasik, because at least her episode of Loki got a 9 out of 10 on the ratings, and Lessons in Chemistry got an 8 out of 10. The other 2 writers did not need to be here. They did not deserve to be directing a $200+ million budget movie. So looking back on this with hindsight, this movie was doomed to fail considering their crappy hiring choices. So anyways, where were we? Some mid-fall action sequences happens, and oh, would you look at that, they conveniently teleported unprompted. And you know what? You could get away with girly teen girl teleporting, but why in the hell did Monica teleport with her? She literally wasn't even using her powers, yet here we are. We're not even 25 minutes into the movie, guys. What the hell? This movie is bad enough that you notice a shit ton of writing flaws in the first viewing, but trust me, when you do the second and third, you notice so many more contradictions, it actually actively pisses you off. Anyways, a lot of boring ass dialogue happens on this Kree ship, and oh, they jump out of a window. How cool, I don't really care. Hey, Captain Marvel. Puncher, 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 puncher. Wow, would you look at that? You just let her use her scary death laser after doing nothing for a solid 30 seconds. Dear God, you write a character this powerful as well as 2 more closely leveled characters and make them do nothing like fucking idiots. Because you made this character so powerful, you have to restrain her and make her act like a complete dumbass so you don't have to actually write her competently. And even after she uses her death laser, you still don't fight for another 12 seconds. And she gets away. The writers from The Flash would get a hard-on after watching this movie. I guarantee you that. So this is like the second time Captain Marvel has fucked over this race of people. That's so cool. So quirky even. Some rescue evacuation bullshit happens that I could care less about, but don't worry, only 95% of them die. Mark Zuckerberg says, fuck you, you suck balls, and then hangs up his crown and leaves. So this chick pops up and beams the elves to New Asgard or some shit. I can't wait to see these characters just basically be forgotten and never shown again after the entire race died again. Am I supposed to be rooting for the heroes? Now that we're in Halloween Town, we get some Marvel backstory. Apparently Captain Marvel over here broke some special computer or some shit that apparently is why Kree's sun, water supply, and air supply is completely fucked. Excuse Excuse me, what? I didn't even really question this in my first viewing, mainly because I was half checked out at this point, but how does destroying a fucking computer royally doggy style the planet's environment and celestial bodies? I get that this movie series is very highly out of reality. It has shit like Bruce Banner and Rocket Raccoon, but at least there was some rules to this stuff. Now, how is this grounded in Marvel's reality where messing up a computer can destroy a star pretty much? Listen, I don't read the comics, so I don't know if this was clarified there, but how does this make sense? This doesn't need to be realistic, it just needs to be believable. Dialogue happens between Marvel and Monica, none of which I really care about. Some character development happens, and
Hey, Kamala, come on. So when I fight crime on the streets of New City, I go by Miss Marvel, and I hope that's okay. Copyright wise, things on stand. I find it hard to eat. I'm just happy we're like touching each other. I realized I should ask permission.
oh dear God, shut up already. So girly teen girl, after causing me mental anguish, reveals that she has the other half of the MacGuffin, and it's called a quantum band apparently. Oh dear God, Marvel, when are y'all gonna stop putting quantum in front of everything to make it sound different and mysterious? Why can't you just call it Jeff or Bob? These bands were apparently used to make the jump points that you've been seeing in every Marvel movie since Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I think? Yeah, I'm right, okay. I'm kind of amazed that I just realized these things' existence was never elaborated on until now, and honestly, I still could care less. Captain Marvel conveniently has these torture devices that allow you to see memories and shit. Kinky, I know. So they visit some recent memories and establish that the band the BBEG wears uses the Marvel's powers against them when it absorbs it, and they audibly say it out loud so you know.
Hey, go back. Her band absorbs your energy and rewrites it. It's like gave her power to use against you.
This is a cool counter. I do like this. Are the three main characters actually going to strategize around this band though? Fuck no. As long as we have girl power on our side, anything is possible. How dare there be any consistency and basic common sense in this movie? There will only be girl bossing from here on out. You will only refer to me as queen. Plus, it appears they also need to shoot her so she can actually open the gateways, and it'd be way too easy to stop her goal if they just did that. Did I forget to mention this movie's writing pisses me off a lot? Captain Marvel decides to be an asshole and remind Monica that she left the milk and never came back, and that's the end of that sequence. And a big hug scene happens. Yes, queen, slay. I feel for you, queen. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, queen. I want to fucking die. Some more nothing dialogue happens aside from establishing the BBEG's motives, and they're looking for natural resources such as air, water, and the goddamn sun. Captain Marvel says that they bankrupted their planet of natural resources.
Had to go somewhere.
Hala. The Kree Civil War basically bankrupted Hala of its natural resources. The air is barely breathable. They're suffering from a drought.
And you know what? Look, I could suspend my disbelief over the planet specifically, but the fact that an entire goddamn star went from being as bright as our own to a dying red giant in under 100 years, and mind you, that estimation is very fucking generous, is actually insane and makes no sense. This process takes literally hundreds of millions of years and just can't randomly happen in under 100, especially from the state we saw it in the flashback scene. Like, how did you guys fuck up this bad already? You're telling me there was not one person in the writing room that was like, oh wait, suns don't act like this. Maybe we should, like, be more fucking realistic, but no, screw it. In this universe, sun go bad in less than 100 years. That is it. And even if that was the logic behind this universe, Earth should have already been sucked up 100 times over by its own star, so I don't even understand where this was coming from. But don't worry, that's not actually how this happened. You'll learn that later in the movie. Trust me, it will make so much more sense, it won't make you want to go bald by the age of 30. Now we have even more stupidity. So get this, Captain Marvel suggests that the big bad evil guy is going to open a jump point on this random ass planet, which is 99% water.
So she could be after water next.
Okay, where in the Magellanic can we find that? Ocean's over 99.6% of the planet. That is a very specific step. You've been there. Yeah.
So tell me, if the Kree need water so damn bad, why in the ever-loving hell wouldn't she just open the portal closer to the water on the elves planet? Because then you get both! This is just a waste of time that's literally only here to pad out this movie, and you cannot tell me otherwise. You can't even make a plausible excuse about the water being too far away at the time. It's literally within walking distance. God fucking damn it.
Nobody cares more than Captain Marvel, and nobody gets more grief for it. Trust me, Kamala is in good hands with Carol.
Yeah, that's completely right, Nick Fury. Nobody cares more than Captain Marvel. She cares so much that she's gonna stand around and watch as the villain monologues for 30 seconds and then opens a jump point that eventually kills off 95% of the population. That's like something a caring person would do. Yeah, don't even sell me on that bullshit. An epic training montage happens so they can learn how to use this teleporting idea that was so carelessly written into this movie. And now they have arrived at a planet that literally should not have even been in this movie if the bad guy was written competently like a normal person. And this annoys me so much more considering the people who inhabit this planet in the first place. So get this amazing writing idea. The people of this planet, yeah, they speak English, but they only understand it if it's sung out loud. I want to fucking die. Help me. They're forcing me to watch.
Princess.
I fucking hate this planet. Anyways, armies are raised and whatever. Can't wait to see this epic fight scene. Oh my god, shut the fuck up. Please! What are you guys doing? Stop, stop, why? This is so forced. You could have at least made it so these three didn't realize she absorbs their powers till the third act, but you're purposely making them so stupid. You know what, screw it. On second thought, keep shooting your energy beams. Maybe I'll get some satisfaction out of this hell spawn of a planet being destroyed.
Where did you get that?
Grandma, she said it's me in the mail.
Okay, I'll be real, this is like genuinely the only line I've slightly chuckled at from her, and it's a little bit funny. I just wish there was more of this and not.
Hey, Kamala, come on. So when I fight crime on the streets of UGC, I go by Miss Marvel, and I hope that's okay. The copyright wise, I understand. I feel like I already speak them. Just happy we're like touching each other. I realized I should ask permission.
And the BBEG wins. You know what? You can have this planet, please. Just take it. It's everything I hate, so I invite you. This movie has me actively rooting for the villain the entire time, and that alone amazes me.
No, you don't understand. The Kree have been ruled by an AI for millennia that led them into a war. I thought the only way to stop it was to destroy it. But I just made it worse. I'm the reason why the Civil War started in the first place. I'm the reason why they couldn't breathe the air. That's how I got the name Annihilator.
Okay, so apparently, fucking up that computer did indeed screw their air, water, and the sun. Am I stupid, or does this not make any sense? Do I have mental slowness, or are the writers so far beyond comprehension that they're just exceeding this reality? Oh dear lord, here comes the vor scene. Oh, and this lasts for over a minute and makes me quite uncomfortable. Plus, to the average person, it makes no damn sense, even by Marvel standards, but screw it. Oh cool, the final showdown with the BBEG. Let's see if they learned literally anything. Stop, please! Why, writers, why? So yeah, they still didn't learn shit. They're still shooting her with lasers, even though 10 minutes ago that caused Captain Marvel to get shit whipped a quarter mile. Oh, and look, they win this time even though they've done nothing different. How convenient. This movie is so fucking contrived. Okay, so get this, they're now going to help the BBEG, even though she's a genocidal maniac, may I add. No, you just don't get off the hook from this because you're a woman. Hitler would not be spared in this shit. And I don't think he should be. This is deplorable. Captain Marvel is such a great character. So now, after all the shit that's happened, they're gonna help the big bad evil guy by restarting the sun's core for Kree. By, get this, launching Captain Marvel into it. Well, after I first heard this, I was genuinely happy because I thought maybe they'd do something ballsy enough that would make this movie go from a 1 out of 10 to a 2. But yeah, I don't even think that you have to hint at what happens. You just already know. Oh, look at that. Helping the obviously genocidal maniac screwed you over. Now for the second most infuriating scene in this entire movie. So, the big bad uses the bands like Wonder Woman and turns her into purple flakes like Ronan before her, who managed to hold a goddamn Infinity Stone. Yeah, get this. Fucking girly teen girl can just pick them up as a regular ass human kid and use them the same way without any wear and tear. This is not even 2 minutes later, mind you. And to top it all with a fucking cherry, girly teen girl tells us, the audience, that their powers aren't linked anymore because plot. There's no actual reason, just they aren't.
What about the switching? Our powers aren't entangled anymore.
How goddamn convenient. Oh, and not even just that. To fix the gaping hole that's bleeding an alternate reality into theirs, Monica just bullshits and just knows how to fix a hole in space-time. And that's conveniently with the bands and Captain Marvel's power. Oh, and get this, the character that previously before this whole movie only used her powers for repairs on a space station can repair a rift in time and space. I actively avoided using this phrase, but all three of these characters are just Mary Sue's. Maybe you can make an argument for only being two, because I haven't really seen much of Miss Marvel, so maybe, just maybe, she's excusable, but none of these characters have even bled in this movie once. A human kid! So Black Lady Magic over here seals the rift with her on the other side, and that's it. An ultimate sacrifice from a character I couldn't give two shits about. Oh, and don't worry, she's fine. The end credit scene shows that if it wasn't obvious. Marvel doesn't have the balls to kill a character on screen anymore unless the real actor dies. Oh, look at this! Captain Marvel is going to fulfill a promise to a genocidal maniac. Now, I personally feel it'd be a really cool idea if this was a move she made to save a planet of people by sacrificing herself to restart their sun, like actually dying. But yeah, that doesn't fucking happen. A literal god of thunder is weaker than some bitch blasted by energy. That is the point we're at in the MCU. Not only that, as usual, she is unharmed and unfazed by flying into the core of a star. Listen, I get there's a lot of dumbasses who scream about wokeness and shit in the film industry and how heroines are written so ridiculously immortal compared to their male counterparts, which, don't get me wrong, about half the time I do agree with it because it's quite accurate, but I generally try to ignore that stuff because most of the time it's obnoxious as hell and it's one big circle jerk. But this is generally one of the most egregious cases of Mary Sue superhero I have ever seen. I actually did have some hope going into this movie. I know the original Captain Marvel made big bucks at the box office, and odds are shit was not going to change with this character as a result, but I just had some hope that they were going to level the playing field and make this character more vulnerable and human, but I was sorely mistaken. At this point, I genuinely think the only way to kill Captain Marvel is with a goddamn Infinity Stone, maybe even 3 to be safe, but those are already destroyed, so it's not possible. This movie was a heaping pile of dog shit I genuinely never want to watch again, but sorry editor me, that's a privilege you get one more time. I like to think of myself as someone who's not hard to please with a movie. I'll enjoy and consume some of the most dog shit movies out there. I have unironically enjoyed Ant-Man Quantumania and the fucking Eternals. That's the level we're on. Granted, I was not as critical back then, and probably a rewatch would destroy these movies for me, but at least with these movies, I found some entertainment in them. I found near zero enjoyment in this movie aside from 3 lines from Nick Fury and like 1 from Miss Marvel. The rest of this movie was an absolute chore to get through. I didn't even think the original Captain Marvel was too bad. Sure, she was quite overpowered, but I found some enjoyment, and I don't know, it was like a few years ago at this point, but at least I didn't walk out actively fucking hating it. Dear God, was this movie bad. I actively hate the character of Miss Marvel. I get she's supposed to be this teen girl stan type, and it just comes with a character template, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure her actor is a decent person, but this character is so goddamn annoying and exhausting. The character I hated the least out of the trio had to be Monica, and I'd say her powers were even more obnoxious than Captain Marvel's herself. Monica is pretty much unkillable. Like, in her astral type form, she can't be hit, but she can hit people if she wants to. I thought the way they were going to work this out was there was going to be 2 separate forms, her floaty hitboxless form and her body itself. It looked like that in the beginning. Whenever she entered this form, her body would linger behind, and I believe it'd be a good way to balance her out as a character and make her physical body the weak point. But instead, we get a character that literally cannot be hit unless the movie decides otherwise, which is really annoying because it just shows the incompetence of the writers and their ability to write for such powerful characters. There are just so many moments in this movie where the trio just turn off their brains because the movie would be over in an instant otherwise. The villain has the mental capacity of an orange when it comes to just basic common sense. An entire section of the movie just shouldn't be here because of this. And if you really want to go down the path of the villain wanted to hurt the Marvel's homeworlds to hurt her, that's why she didn't take both water and air from the first. first, then why did the villain just roll up on the shoreline of the planet that was literally stated to be 99% water and instead just go to literally any other coordinate on this dang planet? And you may argue then that the quantum band requires the power from the Marvels to be used, but it's so dang poorly explained, and in some places it seems to need their power, but in other places obviously doesn't, like the beginning of the movie. So how does this thing work? And regardless, the heroes are so stupid too that they don't even think, after even clearly stating out loud that the band absorbs and reflects their power against them, that they should maybe not shoot them with lasers for the entire movie. And that's what makes the fact that they win in the end so much more fucking annoying, is because there's no buildup or growth to this point. It's literally just throw shit at a wall until it sticks. Getting robbed on the street for everything you have and then having a baseball bat smack you in the nuts would be so much more entertaining and valuable than this movie ever will be. This movie is just purely a clusterfuck that I don't think has anything of value to offer. The comedy is shit. The characters are annoying. The plot has holes worse than a victim of a firing squad, and the writing team has no fucking idea what they're doing and should have never been hired in the first place. I don't think I have actually ever watched a movie yet that I believe deserves a true 1 out of 10, but this movie is so damn close. I feel like giving it a 2 out of 10 because I'm feeling generous. You know, maybe there truly is a god, because at least this movie did not perform well in any capacity. And that just leaves the chance, the teeniest chance, that maybe Marvel will reflect a little and actually get their shit back together. But the way that Phase 4 has been going so far, I so doubt it. So, if this video does do good, I'll probably watch the entirety of Miss Marvel and hopefully come out of it just a little less suicidal. I feel actively robbed watching this movie, so maybe I can make back the money that I lost watching it by this video alone. So don't forget to subscribe and follow my other socials linked below. And bullshit promo aside, I'll see y'all in the next review. Hopefully it won't be Miss Marvel.